Chair is now recognized for an opening statement. Today's forum is about our commitment to justice and keeping communities safe. In recent years, we've all seen how the radical left has sought to undermine public safety in the name of criminal justice reform. The left has implemented pro-criminal policies that have allowed dangerous criminals to remain on the street. The left has attacked law enforcement and sought to defund the police. And then when crime goes up, they act shocked. And when cities become less safe, they act surprised. Earlier this year, we traveled to New York City and heard directly from victims of violent crime. We heard about the consequences of soft-on-crime policies implemented by rogue prosecutors and radical policymakers in New York City. Today, we are in the great city of Chicago, the second in our series on violent crime in major urban areas, to hear directly from victims. Thank you to our witnesses for your willingness to be here, and thank you for sharing your stories. Innocent people in Chicago are victimized by a justice system that cares more about political correctness than punishing the criminals who've harmed them and their families. For 11 years, Chicago has led the country in homicides, and has only gotten worse under State's Attorney Kim Foxx. According to an official report by the Chicago Police Department, crime in Chicago overall has increased during the last 5 years by nearly 20%. Theft is also a huge problem in Chicago, which saw an 114% increase in car thefts and a 32% increase in other thefts between 2018 and 2022. We know Chicago experienced yet another summer with higher rates of violence. Memorial Day weekend started with 11 people killed and 53 others, including 2 toddlers, wounded in shootings across the city. Over Labor Day weekend, 10 were killed and 34 more were wounded, including a 6-year-old boy struck by a bullet in his thigh while he was at his home. And we know what happened this past weekend. 30 individuals shot this past weekend. The rise in violent crime in Chicago has been coupled with attacks on the men and women who wear the uniform, on our great law enforcement officers. 2021, 76 Chicago police officers were shot in the line of duty. 2 officers, tragically, have already been killed this year. The brave men and women in law enforcement deserve better. Chicago leaders have argued Ms. Fox's policies on non-prosecution and eliminating cash bail are keeping too many criminals on the streets and making the city more dangerous. Her presumption is not to prosecute. Remember the violent riots back in 2020 where there were charges of assault, mob action, and aggravated battery to a police officer? Ms. Foxx told her office that there should be a presumption against proceeding unless there was a body or a dash cam footage available, or if a police officer was the complainant. A rogue prosecutor's decision not to prosecute crimes is made even worse when the legislature passes its pro-criminal policies that they did just recently with the so-called Safety Act. This law abolished bail, implemented arrest and release policies for policing, limited when defendants could be deemed flight risk, and prevented police from arresting nonviolent trespassers. The result? 63% of Chicagoans now do not feel safe in their city. By downplaying surging crime and denying victims justice, the leaders of this city are failing their citizens. I mean, you stop and think about it. First it was defund the police, the former mayor. Then it's this Safety Act, and then it's a prosecutor who won't prosecute the bad guys. All that leads to the situation we see today. A former Cook County prosecutor, a 25-year veteran of the office, resigned last summer, saying he had zero confidence in the prosecutor's office. This level of crime spills into every aspect of daily life in Chicago. Local pharmacy chose to open 2 aisles for shoppers while everything else is kept hidden and only bringing out items at the shopper's request. The pharmacy took such drastic steps because retail theft and the violence that comes with it is just too great in Chicago. We want to also extend a special thank you to the Chicago Fraternal Order of Police. John Canizara, thank you for the work you do, the FOP president. I saw John just right here on the front. Yeah, right there on the front. Thank you so much. You guys, you've been tremendous hosts. We appreciate all you've done to help us set this up today. And we support you, and we thank you for serving our country every day. Thank you, and I look forward to our conversation. And